Verbal. All right.
So, so is being black in America worse than living in Iran? Or is Whoopi Goldberg bugging out? Because she went on live TV and said that this could be worse than living in Iran. A crazy comparison. Let's take a look at the five to see where Trump is with this war against Iran. How close are we on going to war? Welcome to Fisticuffs. My name is Noel, here presenting the best TV shows out there, giving us information so we could be aware of what's going on. No lying, just facts. Let's check it out.
President Trump is keeping them guessing and giving a big deadline on whether the U.S. military is going to get involved in the deadly conflict between Israel and Iran. Now, this comes amid a massive escalation. Officials say more than 70 people were injured after an Iranian missile barrage slammed into a hospital in Israel. The IDF striking back by targeting more Iran nuclear sites, including a reactor. President Trump meeting all day with his top intelligence officials, and Caroline Levitt is sharing the president's latest thinking.
Have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks." Iran has all that it needs to achieve a nuclear weapon. All they need is a decision from the supreme leader to do that. And it would take a couple of weeks to complete the production of that weapon, which would, of course, pose an existential threat, not just to Israel, but to the United States and to the entire world.
Exactly. How come no more countries are joining or getting into this? Because if they're going to put at risk the whole world, shouldn't more countries be added, like joining the United States and preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon? How come only one country is doing it? Like, we are great. America is great. But other countries also got strength. They could join the fight and help prevent this. So it's kind of messed up that nobody else is joining.
The conflict between Israel and Iran causing The View to make some pretty outrageous comments and comparisons. Whoopi Goldberg just stepped in it.
But where the Iranian regime is today in 2025
They used to just keep hanging black people. So
it is not even.
Yeah,
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
Earlier today, I imagined what it would have been like if you had been.
That's crazy. She is making the black people in America the worst situation possible. She is just lying to the audience. And I can't believe anybody listens to her or believes anything that she got to say. This is the best country on earth for everybody and anybody. So we got to get rid of identity politics. And that's it. Her tactics are not working. Let the people be. All right? So being in Iran is the worst case scenario for anybody.
Been on the set, and what you would have said to Whoopi.
My apologies
when she said that.
Well, it's her reaction is born of identity politics. If you help these Jews, you're going to hurt the blacks, which is weird coming from a lady named Goldberg. But I believe on The View, they have a rule. One panelist has to say something so crazy every day that everybody else looks sane. And that day was Whoopi's, and Joy Behar and Sunny Huston suddenly don't look totally bat poop nuts. But I think she's like, it seems to me since Trump, 2015, 2016, she's now just operating on non-conscious thinking. Everything is a reflex, and she says what's easily retrievable. It's.
And you know what's crazy? That her bosses, nobody's letting her know that what you just said is insane and you need to apologize. All right. What you're talking about, putting fear in people, is not working. So I'm mad not only at her, but her bosses that sign her paycheck and let her know that she's cool, that everything she's saying is okay when it's not.
Whoopi AI. It's not even a real Whoopi anymore. She just has race, and she just pulls out of it. You know, one of the many benefits of Trump is his refusal to land in the world of the half opinion. You know, he thinks it through. You know, they're both sides traffic in half opinions. We don't want war, half opinion. We don't want Iran to get the nuclear bomb, a half opinion. And those are the easiest opinions to have because no one's going to disagree with you on either one because you're not discussing the risk of both decisions. Both decisions have risks. So in a weird way, half opinions are propaganda. Telling the story without a risk is a lie, and it helps you advance your cause. That's propaganda. So then you look at Trump. This is a good example. You know, people could say Americans could drop bunker busters to destroy Iran's facilities. That's a half opinion. What does Trump do? He says, do they work? Mm-hmm. You know, he thinks it through by asking the question that bureaucrats don't ask because they don't want to sound stupid, but he's actually asking, does it work? And I think that's why we elected him. One of the reasons is that he isn't going to do anything where he's going to lose. That's why I didn't believe.
Love the fact that Trump is fighting to win at every level, asking real questions that we all should be asking. What is going on? Is this going to work? You know, it's not a guarantee 2 weeks, but within 2 weeks, like giving people actual facts to think about. Come on now.
That he lost in 2020. And he's right. But he won't step in until he knows it's going to work. And so you voted for him. You got to trust him.
The other thing I was thinking about, Paul, is he's got a remarkable skill of keeping people guessing, but being very transparent.
Yeah.
And it must be very confounding to people in Iran who are like trying to figure this guy out. But he's basically showing you his work, but also keeping it a secret.
Yeah, and when you think about it, he's talking about a deal, right? And they're sitting in Tehran saying, "Deal? What deal? What is the what are the options that we have here?" Because if you think about it, where do we stand? Our red line is absolutely no enrichment, right? And we're supposed to have unfettered access to all the uranium enrichment sites. That's the deal we got now. Mm-hmm. That's what the AIEA is supposed to be doing right now, and they told us to go pound sand. I think really.
And you know what? That's a gift that Trump has to keep people guessing. He knows how to talk to the audience, how to talk into the camera, and keep people guessing and thinking, what is he doing? What is he going to do next? Right? He's clear, but not exactly. So you got to love that about the man. We need a president like that.
What's going on. I'm not advocating for any of the positions here because at the end of the day, you have to remember something. They have a lot more facts than we do up on Capitol Hill. Trump is operating off of far more facts than we are. So at the end of the day, as Craig said, we elected him, we got to trust him, right? But the immediate issue is Ferdow. I mean, that's just it. So you don't have to go all the way. People talk about regime change, everything else. You just got to mitigate the immediate issue. If you do that, and like I said, take the deal off the table. If you get rid of the immediate threat, well, then you bought some time. Now, ultimately, regime change is where this thing has to devolve to. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, you have an adversary who cannot exist without that bomb. The mullahs cannot last long-term without that bomb. They learned the lessons of Gaddafi. We need this thing. They're going to keep trying. That's just all there is to it. So you got this adversary. They say they want to kill you. They're trying to get the bomb. At the end of the day, at some point, they got to go. But you don't need that right now. You just got to mitigate the immediate problem, which is Ferdow. What I think he's doing is, and that's why I think you can see this 2-week window. The last thing he wants is any American blood here. And right now, the Iranians still do have some offensive capacity. They do have the ability to fire missiles, maybe hit some American assets, and in many ways, almost worst, is hitting some of our adversaries, some of our allies. You get some dead Europeans and et cetera in some place inside the red zone in Iraq. We got an international Megillah.
Or like if you're hitting the Americans, I don't think Trump is going to allow Americans getting killed. So that's another one. Like if one single American gets hurt, like a soldier or anything, it's going to get ugly. Come on, let's talk about it.
That's the last thing he wants. I think he's buying time, waiting till they are out of that capacity. And then my own opinion, I think that's when he moves. And then ultimately long-term, if you notice, we hit their internal security. That's the besiege. That's the one who keep their people down. The Israelis took that out yesterday. They're also now hacking the media and saying, rise up, unlike what we saw during the Green Revolution. I think long term, that's the second stage. But the first stage is fertile. And from where I sit, you got to mitigate that.
Dana, can I ask Paul a question? It's important.
Yes, sure.
What's a Megillah?
Do I have to explain all the NYPD is?
I don't know what it is either. I thought I would look
You
it
never
up
heard
later.
the term Megillah?
No, what is it?
It's like related to Fugazi.
He said, Paul used a phrase, pound sand. I have a feeling that if they do go through with this, that's exactly what this would be, to be pounding some sand.
Yeah, when he says it could last 2 weeks, I'm looking at what 2 weeks is away from, and that would be July 4th. So I could see Trump lighting up the skies over Iran on the 4th of July, or I could see him doing it this weekend. Maybe he's bluffing. I have no idea, but it looks like it's moving pretty quickly because if you take out the...
And if he's bluffing, it's a good bluff, man. Got people just waiting. That's it. Trying to calculate what to do within the next 2 weeks before the deadline, before we reach the deadline. So, hey, the man got everybody thinking.
Underground nuclear site, you can't just sit back and watch and let the Iranians retaliate and hit your bases and hit your ships. You have to have a pretty significant bombing campaign to neutralize any sort of Iranian offensive capacity. That's missiles, command and control. You got to hit everything. So you're just not a sitting duck. When we think about negotiations, Trump's made it pretty clear. This thing's either going peacefully or violently. And the decision's the Ayatollah. Ayatollah is 86 years old. He's been in power for 3 decades. He's a religious revolutionary. Is this the kind of guy that's going to negotiate? He's a proud old man that's probably going to go down fighting. Now, the question is, if you hit these underground facilities, does he stay in power? Can he stay in power? Can he wield power in a country where you've lost your ballistic missiles and you've lost your only leverage, which is your nuke? I don't know. So do you leave him in power and wait for a coup? Or do the Israelis get so pissed after hospital strikes that they're going to just go in and launch a decapitation strike? I don't know. The thing about Iraq and Iran and makes it a lot different is the geography. If you look at Iran, it's surrounded by mountain ranges. All right, so it's very hard for foreign fighters to pour in from all over the region.
They can't just drive in. All planes. Like, we're going to have to use the best planes we got and drone strikes. Those are the 2 things that we got to use. I don't see any tanks driving in or anybody in foot. Planes and drones.
And not only do they have the borders that are surrounded by mountains, I mean, look at that. You have 2 major deserts in there. So once you get over the mountains and through, you have deserts you have to go through. So this is not Iraq. And also, if you do, God help us, if you do go in and there is some sort of coup and you have to maintain some sort of government there, remember what happened in Iraq, the de-Baathification. That backfired. We fired everyone in the military, every cop, every civil administrator, every bureaucrat. And then all those guys got pissed off and then left with a gun to form a militia. And there was no one to run the country. So things have been learned. Or, since all options are on the table, Dana, I could see Trump just letting the Israelis get their hands even dirtier and launch commando raids into this site. So when he says all options on the table, they are. And I agree. I trust Donald Trump to make the right decision here. Whatever he does, I think it'll be the right call.
What's also interesting, Jessica, is the polling that came out last night that shows a great majority of the American people are concerned that Iran could have a nuclear weapon and that they support action. And I think what's interesting, you could get online and you can go way down deep and you could be online for 2 days straight while you're sitting at home waiting to come back to work until the medicine kicks in. And then you get a poll like that and you're like, oh, okay, actually people are pretty sane.
Yeah, I think another question that the Fox poll asked was about does the Israeli strikes make the world more dangerous? And 59% said yes to that. So you can, as usual with polling, you can find the answer that you want in there. And I would say it's a uniform feeling that people know that Iran is an adversary, that they don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. But once you start having a conversation about regime change, Americans get very skittish about this. And it was the first time, at least, that I had heard a senator mention it this morning. Tom Tillis was being interviewed, and he said it's time for regime change. And that is something that really flies in the face of Donald Trump, the peacetime president, or Donald Trump as the campaigner. I think that if this is packaged as we are going to take out their nuclear weapons, but we are not trying to take over their country, and we're not going to get engaged in decades-long wars that we have no business being in. People remember what that was like, and they don't enjoy it. It's also interesting to me, Senator Mark Warner, who is the ranking Democrat on the Intel Committee, was echoing what Tulsi Gabbard had testified to back in March, where she essentially said, Iran is not on the precipice of having this weapon.
Do you believe that?
I don't know. I don't think Mark Warner has any reason to back up Tulsi Gabbard for fun, right? He didn't vote for her. He doesn't think that highly of her. And so I believe that Bibi Netanyahu is taking advantage of the situation, and he knows that Trump is going to back him up, and that Trump believes that the Israelis have earned this. I'm going to use the point, Greg, that I was supposed to make 2 days ago, that he has faith in the Israelis to be doing what's in, quote unquote, the best interests of the region. But you're going to have a real issue if this turns into a redux, putting aside the topography of Iran, of what we have already seen before, and you're not going to have an American appetite for it. I also wanted to note, I was listening to Admiral Stavridis, I always mess up pronouncing his name, and he was talking about the implications of hitting Fordo, and he said you could essentially be creating a dirty bomb. So you explode this nuclear facility, and then you have enriched uranium just flying around in the sky, and you could be poisoning people. And that's something that I hadn't heard discussed before, and should be a consideration. But if Israel can essentially get rid of their missile capacity, just, wear them out, maybe that's what the 2 weeks is. We'll see what they have after 2 weeks.
Can I throw in one curveball at the end here?
Is it a Megillah?
Yes, here's the Megillah. If Ukraine had kept their nuclear weapon,
This wouldn't have happened.
there wouldn't have been
That's the Gaddafi
Right.
factor.
But and
Yeah.
also they were told that we would protect them if we took away their nuclear weapons.
Yeah, so
and we didn't.
maybe we don't do that
Yeah.
again.
If it's another day, you can bet it's another dumpster fire for the Democrats. Sorry, Jess. According to the New York Times, the DNC is in chaos and desperate for cash. Things are so bad. Top officials are actually talking about borrowing money just to pay the bills. Separate report quotes an anonymous DNC insider who called the party's chair, Ken Martin, as looking weak and whiny.
The Democrats are extremely weak right now. They have no way of coming back because they don't have a messenger. They don't have a message to put out there. All they do is fear, putting fear into people, talking bad about Donald Trump so people could get scared to vote for the other guy. But they don't have an other guy. They don't have a person to vote for. So it's going to get ugly. Who's going to donate money? But you know what? You have a couple of maniacs that will donate money to the Democrats, even though it's a failing party, that it's just robbing people blind.
And as if all that were not embarrassing enough, the Democrats launched a YouTube channel that can barely crack 1,000 views. Check this out.
Every morning, the Daily Blueprint will cut through the noise and give you the real story. What you need to know today, what Democrats are doing about it, and how you can fight back and help Democrats win.
But some folks in the party, like James Carville, are keeping the faith.
The Democratic Party has been the most effective political party in the history of the world. It started Social Security. It brought civil rights. It brought women's rights. It brought gay rights. It brought the last party to bring a balanced budget to the United States of America. Okay, it shepherded the United States through the greatest age of prosperity it ever had, the 90s. The Democratic Party really does not need me to defend it. It has a record.
It does.
As good as you can imagine.
Oof, I'm not sure Carville's the answer here. Dana, let me come to you.
Yep.
You know this ecosystem better than anybody, the DC funding ecosystem here. What do you make of this? They've never had trouble raising money before.
It's the Democrats' Megillah. I've tried to use it in a sentence. Don't know if it was correct. For James Carville to be talking about the best achievements of the party having been made before the current chairman was even born, that identifies the problem right there. Every day I wake up and I think, what can I compliment in the Democratic Party today? What are the green shoots? Where are they doing well? And then I read, and I didn't read this article today on FoxNews.com. I didn't read it in the Wall Street Journal or the New York Post. I read it in the New York Times because the New York Times said, you've got a huge problem. You can't raise any money. Nobody wants to be a part of you.
Nope.
Your brand is toxic. And you have the fact that the Biden cover-up continues to have a ripple effect. It's like it was dropped in the middle of the ocean and it continues on, and it is going to swamp them for a long time to come. The credibility of the entire Kamala Harris campaign is weighing down the situation. And imagine you're a donor. He's like, How dare you? Oh, you want to send George Clooney to ask me for my money again? You guys lied to us. You lied to us until we saw it with our own eyes at the debate. And then you were like, oh, yeah, he must really get out. And they're in a situation of their own making. It is a real Megillah.
And, they paid Beyonce all that money and everything else. So, Jess, I got to come to you. I mean, in a lot of ways, the money is the purest metric you could have. Is this a referendum?
To some degree, for sure. What I think is most interesting is they're not having a small dollar donations problem. So the grassroots is still giving.
Right.
They're having a big donor problem, to Dana's point. The folks that you go to and you ask for $1 million checks or to do a huge fundraiser that's going to bring in $5, $10, $15 million. And I think that those people who want to spend their hard-earned money on Democratic victories want to see a new game plan. They want to see what all the buzz is about with Ken Martin, who's the new head of the DNC, who beat out Ben Wickler, is an incredibly accomplished organizer. He runs the Wisconsin Democratic Party. And they want to see more evidence. Now, in terms of how it's been going for Democrats, we've been doing really well in all the elections that have happened since the general election. So overperforming sometimes by 30, 40 points. And that makes a difference.
Yeah, it's crazy that they still got maniacs who believe in them, even though now with social media, they're being exposed. All right. Every single time that they all repeat the same thing, like they had a meeting and they all go in front of a camera and they cry about the same thing. They keep talking about racism. They keep pointing out things that are just nonsense. And more people are waking up and just running away from the Democratic Party. So we need these big time donors to step out and stop dumping their money into losing causes.
People for sure. We're also looking at a Republican Party that's not doing that well. I mean, Donald Trump right now, minus 18 on the economy, minus 30 on inflation. Those are the issues that people go and vote on. In defense of the YouTube, I went on the GOP's YouTube, latest videos, 215 views, 137 views, 433 views, 281 views, and 250 views. So both parties need a better YouTube game.
All right, fair enough. But let me ask you this, Jesse, let me come to you. What is it that you think the big donors, which is what we're talking about here, what brings them back? What are they looking for?
I'd wait. I wouldn't give right now. I'd wait until you win the midterms, and then I'd give it to Gavin Newsom, because you can't give it to a woman. They're 0 for 2 with women. And Jessica, it doesn't.
Terrible with money, too.
It doesn't matter. Trust me.
No, usually they handle the finances.
Yeah, in your house, do they?
Yes.
Oh, that's why you're broke. The YouTube thing, it's funny. You can't just put a blonde on TV and have it be a hit. It's not Fox, okay? They need to have a little more talent, Jessica. And Carville is saying the Democratic Party started the Civil War, okay? It's not all hits, Carville. You have to be a DNC chairman if you have to be wealthy, well-connected, and fun at fundraisers. You need someone like Terry McAuliffe. You can't put Shaggy from Scooby-Doo up there, who got humiliated by the Hog, who looks like Tinkerbell, or weighs less than Tinkerbell. And so, I don't know, Jessica, I would just wait.
I think the Democratic Party is all about raising money. So they need somebody who has a proven record of bringing in millions, or bringing in all the money that they're going to need, and they need now, because messaging wise, they suck. All right, they're horrible at putting out a message that compels people to follow them, right? That compels people to go ahead and donate. That this is a winning team, because right now it's a losing team. But in any case, if you love what you're seeing, give it a thumbs up, or give this channel a thumbs up. Let's try to beat the Democrats in this YouTube game, right? We got to get our message out here, because we're not mainstream media, but people speaking the truth. My perspective.
Wait it out. And you might not even win the House, because I have a new poll. It says there are crumbs of comfort for the GOP. Not saying red wave, but a lot of people are saying the short-term turbulence that Trump is saying is going to be worth it if it ends up good economically. And a lot of Democrats are economic nationalists, just like Donald Trump. They support deportations. They support Trump on immigration. Catch this.
Are you reading Playbook?
1/4 of Kamala Harris's voters approve of Trump's immigration policy.
Oh, my.
So?
All right. That's a mic drop moment. Greg Gutfeld, let me ask you this.
Sure.
I have a theory here.
What do you got, Paul?
I
What do you
think-
got? Come, spit it out, okay?
Is that his moral?
Spit it out.
He's awful.
Wait till I
right?
get to
I'm sorry
HR,
this was
man.
happening.
No, I gotta tell you this. Get me HR stuff all right.
Here's the issue, okay? I'm gonna be frank.
You should see my gut felt, by the way, all right? Which I'm taking mercy on you.
You see my Brit Hume.
All right.
Oh, you're a great man.
That's not a real impersonation. That's you in the old days. All right. I have a theory here. The big donors are scared. And I think they're scared because, number one, they don't want to lose their money. But number two, there's a lot of investigations coming. Would you donate to people that are throwing Molotov cocktails at cops?
If you would not donate to a party that is picking the losing side on every issue, that has lied and betrayed their voters, saying Joe was never sharper, and then hid their incompetent replacement until the very end. It's financially so dire. Maxine Waters is selling her wigs. Nancy Pelosi is now only using domestic.
And you know what? Nowadays with social media, all the lies are getting exposed. So how is it that they're not seeing this? Anybody donating or hasn't woken up yet? It's just a matter of time before they wake up. Because little by little, they're all waking up. We all are realizing that we've been lied to. I've been a Democrat all my life. And now that I'm outside of the city, into real America, just recognizing that, yo, they want money to just destroy this country, destroy the people. That's it. And just straight up lied to us. The money is going to their pocket.
Domestic Botox.
Oh my God.
And Kamala Harris, I mean, this is probably good. She's cutting back to one nightly box of wine. So good for her. But I think a lot of these really rich people, they're not leftists. They're centrists, with the exception of Soros. And after the last 5 years, it's to your point, what do you see? The Democratic Party is not your normal party. The rest of us have developed an allergy to them. You know, I'm like
it's over calling the Republican Party the racist party. That's it. That's all they got. So if you go with the Republican, you automatically a racist. Like calling Trump a racist, no, it's a lie, right? They captured the whole non-white voters that are now waking up and just running away from them and realizing that no, Democrats are actually the evil party. Let's all pack up and get out of here because they just want to destroy us. Every narrative they got, everything they say, it's just another step closer to destroying people. So you want to save yourself, go with the Republicans.
we get around and we're allergic because it's all about compulsory thinking. And nobody wants to be told what to believe. And then you tell us we lack empathy when we don't agree with your beliefs. Right now, if you look at the Democratic Party, it's a collection of appeasement signals. You know, one group is trying to appease the other group, and it creates this passivity and this cowardice where they hope, you know, each group hopes they'll be eaten last. And the loudest in this group are white women. So because they have most to lose, they think that their whiteness is going to get them targeted. So they're the ones that are most pro-trans, most pro-PLO or Palestinian. They're the ones that are acting most theatrical because they fear that they are the next target. So right now, the Democratic Party has become an orgy of appeasement. It's led by awfuls, affluent white liberal females. Happened with BLM and all the protests. It was all these crazy white ladies. That's the problem with the party. Nobody's going to want to give money to crazy white ladies.
So what should we do?
Hey, that is so true. You know, it sounds horrible, but those are the ones at the front line yelling and screaming. The Karens, right? The white lady talking about being nice to criminals, being nice to people who break the law, to all these illegal riots. We got to stop being nice to all these bad people that are just hurting more and more cops and more people following the law. So little by little, people are waking up, man. All these Karens gotta go.
Do with the crazy white ladies?
I think
Leave us alone.
I think it's an identity standoff. We have an identity standoff in the Democratic Party. You've got to call a truce and say, look, I should be able to say what I believe. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Because that's the way it is in the Republican Party. Look at everybody yelling at each other about Iraq.
Like a Mexican standoff, but with white women.
Yes.
Got it.
Exactly.
All right. I don't know what to say to that.
I don't know what to say.
Up next, anti-ICE. We got to get out of this segment, please, for my own sake. Anti-ICE agitators are swarming.
Here we go. Like I said, all these people who are anti-ICE, like you're anti the government. Trump is doing great by sending in the military to quench this riot, to stop all these maniacs.
Dodger Stadium.
Activists causing a scene at Dodgers.
Because, you know, ICE been around since forever. They're not new. They're not Trump. This is an organization that's been around since forever. It's just the government refused to use it because they was in the middle of destroying this country. That's the Biden era. Their goal was to destroy the country and not use federal informants properly how it was supposed to be used.
Stadium in LA, accusing agents of trying to get into the ballpark. This lady sure got into the spirit of America's pastime.
The Dodgers! The Dodgers!
But DHS is squashing the fake news. Quote, this had nothing to do with the Dodgers. CBP vehicles were in the stadium parking lot very briefly, unrelated to any operation or enforcement. And ICE says they were never there. Meanwhile, this one Democrat thinks he can actually convince ICE agents to stop the deportations with the power of persuasion.
If you have any decency, quit now. Go do something else.
And look, they use a black guy to try to drive the point home. But no, what the hell are you talking about? Stop this. You're breaking the law. You're here illegally. You got to go. So this is the wrong guy to send out the message.
Because just doing what you were told has been the justification for some of the worst horrors and crimes against humanity. And to my Republican colleagues who say, I don't want any undocumented people in this country, I actually agree with you. So let's document every single one of them.
But hey,
What the hell are you talking about? You agree? We got to get these people out. No more undocumented criminals or people in general. As a matter of fact, you broke in, you're a criminal.
it's no wonder why the left's losing their minds when Democrat lawmakers are sharing anti-ICE ads like this.
We're rounding up illegals.
She was born here. She's a citizen.
I don't care. She looks like one of them. But don't worry. When she's in prison in El Salvador.
Again, we got to stop talking about looks. Like papers don't matter. Anybody that gets caught, ask for your paper, you show them your paper, that's it. End of conversation, nothing to talk about. It's not like you're going to get deported and then when you're in prison in another country, that's when they're going to ask for your papers. It doesn't work that way. So this is nonsense. And I can't believe people fall for this. This is retarded.
She'll have lots of company.
Jessica, you like that ad?
Yeah, I made it.
All right, this is so dumb, and I can't believe they wasted money. How many millions did they spend on that commercial, on that stupid commercial there? Retarded. As a matter of fact, I take offense to it. The audience should take offense to it. More people should say this is dumb, and by you playing it, you're calling me dumb. So, no, this is never going to happen. Comment down below. Do you think it's ever going to happen that people are getting deported and then once they're over there, they're finding out the truth and bringing them back? No. And you know what? That guy that Maryland man that got deported, who was actually from El Salvador and had to go to jail over in El Salvador, he wasn't a Maryland man. He broke into this country illegally, so it was right for him to be deported. And then you got all these Democrats asking for them to bring back that guy. So let's be honest. The guy wasn't illegal. It was right that they deported him. And now they actually brought the guy back. But what? To do life in prison? So now we got to pay for him to be in jail for the rest of his life? Because, hey, when you're a criminal, it's not like you're going to come back and just roam the streets. You broke the law. You break the law. I'm sorry. That was a crazy decision for people to do. Therefore, they just got to pay for the crime. It is what it is. But anyway, so being here for 30 minutes. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. I'm trying to see if we could expand here more than the DNC. They got their own YouTube channel. They're trying to blow up. But I'm just giving you my perspective. Just being clear, letting you guys know how I feel. I'm trying to get a co-host. So hopefully next time I come on here, I'll have a co-host sitting next to me. I got to figure out what to say to her. Try to persuade a co-host to sit with us and bring you guys news and more perspective. But we got to speak our mind. My name is Noel. Over here, battling MS, but still bringing you the news. With that said, that's just my perspective on things. We got to deport all the illegal criminals The DNC got to step it up, bring a good orator or bring a good person that has a positive message, letting us know how they're going to help us, what they're really going to do to improve conditions, right? What things different than Trump they're going to do. Like what other things different than what Trump is doing are they going to do to help us out? Because Trump is doing nothing but great things, right? World peace, squashing all the wars. I'm sorry, all the wars. Am I saying it right? Wars? I'm struggling saying wars. He's stopping all the wars, deporting all the illegal immigrants like a president should. You know, that's the part of the federal government. And just bringing prices down. Because that's all we really care about, the prices. Going to the grocery stores and spending less on gasoline, right? AI. I'm using AI right now to help me with my divorce. I'm in the middle of a divorce and my wife just took my car away. So I'm trying to use AI to figure out what to do about that because my lawyer says that the car is actually marital assets and she could drive away with it. So here you go. She drove away, my wife drove away with the car and now going through the divorce proceeding, how can I get my car back? Look at my struggles. I have no vehicle and getting married was the worst thing that I've ever done in my life because now when you have marital assets, because she decided to take it and work with it, I don't have a say. It's been 6 months me without a vehicle, struggling through life, but it is what it is. I'm trying to use AI to help me formulate a good argument that I could pose to the judge to convince the judge that I need my car. I have a 16-year-old son. So me and him are now stuck at home, unable to go anywhere. I mean, we could get Uber, but it's not the same as having your own car to go places. So what kind of an argument can I build to get my car back? I mean, horrible situation. Not only that, but then I got to make a fight to try to keep my house because she may want to push for me to sell it. So like that, she could get a portion of the proceeds. On top of that, she left me with $100,000 in debt. So now I got to figure out how to pay that debt. So not lose the car, pay the debt, and not lose the house. All of that over getting married. Look at what I'm struggling with. But that's my journey. We're going to make it happen. If you have something to share, help me out here. Hey, I'm in PA. So every state has different laws. It's insane. I got to figure out how to get PA to communicate with Connecticut because that's where she went. She drove over to Connecticut. So I got to figure out the judge here speaks to the officers over in Connecticut to try to get my car back. What a dilemma. I should reach out to Trump and see what he can do to help out here. But that's just me talking on top of the dome, just putting ideas. I set up a movie theater here in my house. They're showing the movie. What movie is that? Let me see if I could. Well, that's my little home theater I set up. So like that in my free time, I get to just watch movies. It is what it is. But in any case, this is the most viewers I've ever had in X and 2 on Facebook. What other information should I put out there? Now that I don't have a car, I have to shop online so they could bring me groceries. So I cannot go out for groceries or anywhere else. Pool, I put a pool in my backyard so I could warm up. Tomorrow's going to be 99 degrees or 96 or 97. It's going to be above 90 degrees. So tomorrow I want to try to jump in the pool in the backyard because I can't go anywhere to swim. Don't have a vehicle. I mean, how can AI help me? AI says I have a 70 to 85% probability that the judge will side with me. So nothing is 100%. So AI is smart. AI said, this is Grok, that you have a 70 to 85% chance that the judge will side with you, but you need to compel it with strong evidence, such as the car is registered under my name, but yet is residing in Connecticut, which is illegal for you to have a car in a different state for more than 90 days. According to Connecticut laws, you cannot keep a car from a different state or plates from PA in Connecticut for over 90 days. You risk of being impounded. So she has a car under my name in Connecticut where I can get a ticket or I'm liable for it. But she's keeping it under the auspice that she uses it for work. So I got to convince the judge that I need the car because I have a child in the house. I'm without a vehicle. There are 3 reasons I need a car. I have a child in the house, need a vehicle. Number 2, it's illegal, and I'm stressed out over the fact that I'm liable. So for liability reasons, I need the car here. And number 3, she was given a 30-day chance to refinance the car under her name. So she needs to put the car on her name, and she didn't do it. So for those 3 reasons, the car is under my name. It needs to be refinanced, liability, and my son. I think those are the 3 main issues I wrote down why I need the car back. If that's not enough for the judge to say, yes, you get it back, then I don't know what to say because it's illegal. Like, are you pressuring me to break the law and allow her to illegally have a car in the state of Connecticut? It's crazy if she can convince me, because if she gets 30 days to switch the car to her name and she doesn't do it, is a judge going to say, let's give her another 30 days and then another 30 days? So now we're talking about 3 months. Then what? Well, you know, you got to consider you can't leave her without a job. So then another thing is for me to propose, okay, I'll give her $2,000 so she could buy herself a car and keep her job going, because she doesn't need my car to do her job. She could get a different car. She's a delivery worker. It's a lot of convincing. And I'm just praying that the judge doesn't give her 30 days on top of 30 days on top of 30 days. So, and that's a trick with law. It's opinions. So it's the judge's opinion to give the car back to me, because otherwise she'll be breaking the law. So wait, am I supposed to, if she's given 30 days, that means for 30 days, the car there illegally. And then after that, if you give her another 30 days, it'll be illegally there for another month. How can the judge make me break the law? I'm going to tell my lawyer to point that out. The fact that I am going to continue to break the law. Why? She's already been there for 123 days. So that's what? Well over 90 days. So what, 4 months breaking the law? And you want me to continue for another what? 2 more months? Like, the law is insane. So hopefully the judge will buy my argument. The fact that I'm breaking the law, I'm a liability, my son needs it. 3 reasons why the car should come back to Pennsylvania. I must talk to my lawyer to see what he thinks about the idea. I don't know. He's probably going to charge me a good couple $1,000 to file the court case, which I'm fine paying him, but I need to win this. Don't know what else to say. Filing for a court order is the best thing that I got. And it's the best argument that the AI told me to put up. Put up those 3 things and show evidence. I already paid for 80% of the car. She's paid for 20 so far, 20%. So I have a bigger stake in it. Is another part of the reason. Here comes my co-host. Ode, siéntate aquí al lado de mí. Saluda a la gente. This is my future co-host. I got to get her to be on the show. Dile hola a la gente. Saluda. Ellos quieren que tú seas parte del programa y te sientas aquí conmigo. Tú te sientes en tu silla ahí, te pones aquí y hablamos a la cámara. So ella lo va a pensar. She's gonna think about it. If I could get her here, hopefully we'll get a bigger audience and different perspective. She's not the wife that I'm divorcing. This is somebody else. The wife that's divorced me, she took the car and just abandoned the home. She's been out the house since February. So good riddance. Hopefully we'll never hear from her. This is somebody else that I think I'm motivated to be my co-host and then just sit here and then give her opinion on different news articles, just like The Five, which is a great TV show I think, in my opinion, they're very honest. They always speak with truth, not scared of being canceled. That's another big problem. People are scared of being canceled. People don't want to speak because they don't want to get canceled. Let's be honest here. We all know that's the truth. But sorry to let you guys know about what I'm going through. If you enjoyed the show so far, give it a thumbs up. That's the only thing that I ask people to do. So like that, more and more people on the channel, the algorithm sends this out to more and more people. And we get more views out of it. All right? That's all I'm going to say about that. And what else is coming up? What's today? Today is Saturday. Monday, I'm going to talk to a couple of lawyers. And then Tuesday, my actual attorney, give him the idea, see if he agrees. I think because he's a local lawyer, he should know the judges and be brutally honest with me. Do I have a compelling argument? Is it worth putting out there, the argument? Because the lawyer can say it's not worth it because the judge is going to side with her. So then that's something to think about. No. O déjame ver. So basically, the lawyer should tell me, is it worth putting out, knowing the judges from the area? And also, would the judge support me breaking the law by allowing her to keep the car in another state? How can I get the judge to side with me, telling her, you're breaking the law, you need to bring the car back to its owner? And that's all I'm asking for. Can we follow the law? Can a judge compel me to break the law? Which makes no sense. But I want to see how amazingly the judge can make sense out of it and say, hey, she needs the car, even if breaking the law is what's necessary for her to continue to have the car. That's going to be an amazing argument. I mean, let's be honest here. Like, I don't see any real argument for her to keep the car. So I'm going to fight with my attorney on Tuesday to see if he convinces me not to do this, not to file a court order to get my car back. I mean, comment up below if you're an attorney. Let me know what you think. I need to talk to more and more lawyers about this. Matter of fact, I want to text my friend Chris and point out the fact that this is crazy. Getting married was the worst decision of my life. But you know what? It's a fight. Life is not all gravy, smooth sailing. It's a fight. And right now, I got this fight with this young lady that just wants to take my vehicle and take my money. This whole marriage, it was a 6-year marriage. It was just a money grab for her, in my opinion. And it's crazy because I'm broke. But she saw a couple of dollars and she wants us $2 or $3. Because you know how broke you are. There's somebody else who's always way more broke than you are. And that's what this was. I mean, it's crazy because she got her citizenship after marrying me. And 2 months after getting her citizenship, she went on her own and filed for divorce. Just came back home and told me, hey, we are done. Crazy. With that said, I'm going to get out of here because my leg hurts from sitting down. Battling MS is not easy. If you know, you know. Just give it a thumbs up before you go anywhere. With that said,